Hello, dear learners. Good afternoon again. I'm ABEJE ASEFA. I come back with new lesson. I remember in the previous lesson, we had tried to see the course lesson as lesson 1, especially as a hint, the relationship and difference between research seminar and research paper. We have seen the difference and the similarity of research paper and the research seminar. As the same as what's the purpose of both research seminar and research paper. In today's lesson, I had some information. I wanted to share this information with you as a lesson. So I come back with new lesson, especially on very urgent and very necessary about the global poverty status. I want to share you with especially the main 9 cause of global poverty. So I invite you to follow me up to the end of this lesson. Let's go to the first presentation outlines of my today's presentation. Here it says the top 9 causes of global poverty. There are 9 in number. We will see this in deeply. This is written as a presentation outline. The first one, inadequate access to clean water and nutrition food is the first one. 4, the major and the main cause among the 9 top problem of global poverty is inadequate access to clean water and nutrition food. The second we're going to see is little or no access to livelihood or jobs is the second major cause of global poverty. The third, and which is very known all over the world, is conflict, war. The fourth, inequality, is also the fourth in rank on the top 9 of global poverty. And the fifth, poor education. Poor education is one major cause for the global poverty. The sixth, climate change, which is very challenged this world, even which is very difficult for the future. Climate change is very dangerous than others main cause of the global poverty, especially currently. The AIDS, lack of infrastructure, is one major cause under top 9 major causes of global poverty. The 9 and the last is limited capacity of the government. We will see this roughly one by one in my presentation. Let's go. Here, number 1, inadequate access to the clean water and the nutrition food is the number 1. Look, currently more than 2 billion people don't have access to clean water at home, while over 800 million suffer from hunger. As we have seen from this figure, the first figure here is, look, she's fetching water. I don't know exactly is it really water or not. You see how suffer they are, how problem it is. She's fetching water, but it seems a mud, full of mud. You see, that's why this inadequate access to clean water comes first among the 9 problems, causes of global poverty. The second one is lack of nutrition food. Look this child, how hungry they are, how suffered they are. Look, that's why among these top 9 cause of global poverty, inadequate access to clean water and nutrition food comes first. So you might think that poverty causes hunger and prevent people from accessing clean water, and you would be right. But hunger and water insecurity are also big reason why people struggle to escape extreme poverty. The big reason why people struggle to escape extreme poverty. If a person doesn't get enough food, imagine they simply don't have the strength and energy needed to work. Lack of access to food and clean water can also lead to preventable illness like diarrhea. You see? And when people must travel for a distance, to clinics or spend what a little money remain in medicine, it drains already vulnerable population of the money and assets, can knock family from poverty into extreme poverty. Look. Number two, the little or no access to livelihood or jobs. This might be seem a bit like no-brainer. Without a job or a way to make money, people will face poverty. But it is easy to assume that if someone wants a job, they could have one. That just isn't true, particularly in developing and rural part of the world. Dowling access to productive land, often due to conflict, overpopulation, or climate change, and overexploitation of the resource like fish or mineral is putting increasing pressure on many traditional livelihoods. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Africa, for example, most of the population lives in rural communities where natural resources have been plundered over centuries of colonialism, while conflict over land disputes has forced people from the land they relied upon for food and money. In Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, more than half of the country lives in extreme poverty, while inconsistency work and low-paying jobs can land family in poverty. Absolutely no work means that a family can't get by without assisting. Number three, conflict is the third in rank among the 9 top cause of global poverty. Conflict. This is even we Ethiopians experienced this for many times, including this situation, especially up to last year. We had many times experienced how conflict is dangerous, how conflict is damage everything, how conflict is very serious problem. We had a problem. We had experienced such problems. We know that how conflict is very bad. So conflict can cause poverty in several ways. Conflict can cause poverty in several ways. Large scale protected violence that we see in places like Syria can grind society to halt, destroying infrastructure and cause people to flee, forcing families to sell or leave behind their assets. In Syria, for example, around 70% of the entire population now lives below the poverty line. This is very bad news. More than 70% of Syria people live under the poverty line. You can imagine how difficult it is, even in terms of talking, in terms of teaching, how hard it is to hear this. This is a country where extreme poverty was once very rare. Women of the bear the brunt of the conflict. During the period of the violence, female-headed households becomes very common. And because women often have difficulty getting well-paying work and are typically excluded from community decision-making, their family are particularly vulnerable. But even a small amount of the violence can have huge impacts on communities that are already struggling. For example, if the farmers are worried about their crops being stolen, they won't invest in planting. Women are particularly vulnerable in these kind of conflicts too, as they often become the targets of sexual violence while fetching water or working alone in the field. You see, including in the conflict, under this such difficult poverty, under poverty line, they are forced to do that. Number 4, inequality, which is a headache of a lot of countries, a lot of peoples. Inequality is the fourth cause of poverty and global poverty. There are many different types of inequality in the world, from economic to social inequalities like gender, caste system, or tribal affiliation. But no matter the inequality, it generally means the same thing: unequal or no access to the resource needed to keep or lift a family out of the poverty. Sometimes inequality are obvious, but in other situation it can be stubborn. For example, the voice of the certain people or group might not be heard in community meeting, meaning they don't get say important decision because they are living under inequality. Regardless, this inequality means that the people affected don't have the tools they desperately need to get ahead, and for already vulnerable families, this can mean the difference between being poor or living in extreme poverty. Number 5, poor education or poor education. This is a very dangerous thing. For me, this is a very, very, very very dangerous. Not every person without an education is living in extreme poverty, but most of the extremely poor don't have an education. And why is that? There is a lot of barriers stopping children from going to school. Most of the extremely poor don't have an education. And why is that? The other one is climate change. You might be stunned to learn that World Bank estimated that climate change has been the power to push more than 100 million people into poverty over the next 10 years. Maybe the seventh, lack of infrastructure. This is also the very, very dangerous thing. The number 8 is limited capacity of the government. Is also the AIDS major cause of poverty. And the last and the final one is lack of reserves. This is also the ninth main cause of poverty, global poverty. So thank you for your attention. Today's lesson is like this. See you next time. Bye.